One thing that I learned in therapy more than anything is that do not glorify what happened to you, you know, like saying, I cannot do certain things, giving the situation more power that it has already had over your life for so many years.
Black child, you're going far. Black child, you're going far.
Hello, guys. Welcome back to my 100 subscriber channel. Yeah? You guys, what the hell? Like, you clearly Connie, okay? Like, what it do, baby? Like, whoa. Oh my god, I cannot believe that I'm a YouTube holder of a channel that has 100 subscribers. Firstly, I'd like to thank God, my mom, my dad, and everybody who knows me. Yeah. Anyways, guys, welcome back to my channel. You know what I'm saying. My name is Professor P. Mugwena, and this is, of course, the Random Chats with Pablo with the very good hair. So let's give a moment to people who haven't subscribed. Because I'm not about to be that girl who's becoming a statistics of people who just watch videos without subscribing. Why are you doing me like that? Why are you doing me bad? Like, why are you doing me wrong? So I'm going to give you a moment to actually subscribe to this channel, turn on your notification bell, and, thank you. Now that you've subscribed to my channel and to my returning subscribers, thank you so much for coming back. But I am nothing without you. I'm so grateful. Like, the message one thing, like why YouTube Studio holds in the notification. Actually, like, guys, I can't be making a story time about how I clocked my first time. Alice. It's like my first time as subscribers, but I'm super grateful for all that and all, for just like that shows growth. I mean, it's been a month since we've been back, and even after that month of being like actively back, we were able to just do great. But anyways, let's get into today's video, which is of course about therapy as a Black person, and I think there's a lot to take from this session. Also, a disclaimer, people must know, let it be known that this is not any professional advice whatsoever that will tie me to anything whatsoever. So this is just me speaking personally based on my own experience as attending therapy as a Black person for the first time, and because I feel like we need preparations for that. Okay, so yeah, firstly, let's talk about the stigma that media is not doing so much to give us therapy, to just really like put it out there to say, hey, this is here and this is what happens. Like we don't have information. We don't have enough information about therapy. I say we because even then for me it was like therapy. I'm going to talk about things and then what? It doesn't change the fact that it happened. I didn't see anything positive that was going to come out of me talking about whatever it is that had happened to me, and the traumas that everything has caused me. But that was because of the disservice that I was doing myself without doing research, knowing, before doing whatever it was that I did, which was like to research whatever it is that, like, what kind of specialist do I need, what kind of therapies do I need, those kind of things you also need to really look into, okay? But I feel like media can do a lot, and organizations could really do a lot as well, in making sure that the information is out there at people's disposal to know about what it is that has to do with therapy and sounds and stuff like that, I feel like the only time that media has actually given us like a little bit of an insight of what really happens. If you're a movie person, you'd know that an acronym is just like it starts with therapy. Taraji's just going through therapy and explaining everything, whatever it is, the feelings, the emotions. So another big thing is that therapy as a black person is on its own a challenge, because we grew up in societies where we don't talk about that. We don't do that here. Like, we don't do that here. We don't talk. We grew up in societies that there's no space, there's no room for us to talk about. We need to talk about our feelings and stuff like that. And this is one like, it's a generational curse. And I think we are fortunate enough to also have such like advocacy sessions, where we're able to know that, hey, there's actually therapy if you feel like you're triggered, you're traumatized, and you want to get. But with our parents, it was never that. And even with us, even with some of us as well, there's no open communication channel between us and our parents to talk about, hey, this is what happened, I'm not doing well. This is, even personally, even for me, when I was telling moms, so I started therapy. It's like, therapy. So as black people, we just grew up in societies that do not allow us to speak as black people, and that's just like the generational curse that we need to break as young black people today, because we then going to go back to our children, making sure that our children become better people, and making sure that we just don't become a generation of broken people, stuff like that. So another thing that people wonder a lot: when do you attend therapy? Trauma, trauma, everything that has, like, anything traumatic, you go to therapy. And in most cases, even for me, the trauma, I didn't go immediately. As I was saying, for me to attend therapy was not because of the actual situation that traumatized me. It was because of a trigger that reminded me of that place that I never really dealt with at the time, whatever the issue that I'm constantly working and dealing with happened. You know what I'm saying? So I think one thing that there is to know about what really therapy is: firstly, you like, when you get there already, it means that you're defeated. You cannot do this by yourself anymore. You can't. You're just tired. So therapy really thoroughly requires a total strip down of yourself for you to become naked. Therapy is like you becoming naked in front of a stranger for the first time, be it boy or girl, or a person of the same gender as you. There's some sense of discomfort. That's what therapy does. You just need to open yourself up to say, I need help. And it's crazy. I think I'll just, like, personally for me, um yeah, personally for me, I was just murmuring about a lot of things, because my first session was that it contained like two, three questions. They asked me about myself, then they asked me, "What are you doing here?" And I started murmuring, um, and I was like, I feel like I need help. And then you are revisiting memories of a place where you don't want to go, a place that, bears nothing good, has no good memories whatsoever. So for me, it was emotionally taxing. And I think the texting and the tears and the frustration that you are actually expressing, more than anything else, I think your tears and you realizing and having to find the words to describe what is it that you're feeling is what therapy is. Because I would say that abuse is not an actual situation that happens. It might be physical, it might be emotional, but the flashbacks and the triggers are what is abuse, especially to myself, or how I see it. Yeah, so yeah, I became very and super honest with myself and what I was feeling, and that was very much necessary, because I've never revisited the feelings again. It's always been that thing that this is a door that I never walk myself into. So I think one thing that you need to be prepared for is really revisiting yourself. The door that you closed, you need to open and be in that moment and be in that situation again, for you to be able to be able to be as expressive as you should be or as expected, So pretty much that. And one thing that therapy does is that besides you revisiting your traumas and stuff like that, you open yourself up. I think you learn to understand what you're going through more. You're able to articulate your feelings. You're able to express what you're feeling, emotionally, verbally. I think that's one thing that, it champions you to do and to become. And that makes you a better person in general, because there you learn that you don't always have to constantly suppress your feelings or suppress yourself or decrease yourself for someone else to increase. So that's what therapy does for you, and it's something that's actually quite great that everyone needs to experience that. I think more than anything else, understanding what it is that you're going through so that you tell the next person so that they don't come at you. The discomforts of therapy, I don't think there's any discomfort more than you being discomfortable with you not wanting to visit a place for you to be able to heal as a person. Discomforts, I did not experience any discomforts, because being truthful to myself has been the only discomfort, or like revisiting the place where I was that I needed a lot of work and healing from, was the only place that was not comfortable, or that gave me such huge amounts of discomfort. But in terms of the session itself, no, it was not. If you have experienced any discomforts in your therapy session, especially your first therapy session, that you would want us to know about, do feel free to drop in your comment in the comment section below, and let's hear what is it that, from your side there was to do. I think it's one space where I was assured of my safety for me as a person, safety of my emotion and how I express them. There's no room, there's no place for judgment. So like I was really relaxed, to be quite honest. This is the thing, and one thing that I learned in therapy more than anything is that do not glorify what happened to you. This is the thing, and one thing that I learned in therapy more than anything is that do not glorify what happened to you. Like saying, for an example, saying, nah, I went through this, so I cannot do certain things, giving the situation more power that it has already had over your life for so many years. You don't give someone who has traumatized you that kind of, allowance that you've been giving them. You don't glorify them to that extent. You don't give them so much power by belittling yourself. So you need to be on top of the situation, figuratively and literally. And this is to say, you see this whole thing that you say to yourself, all right, I'm on top of everything. I've got this. It's not easy, but I'm doing it. But I'm moving, and would I advise a person to go to therapy if there's something that they're struggling with? Definitely. And I think one situation that we really need to talk about, especially as Black people, is that we like the service is super expensive. Like, it's so expensive, that I get the work that they're doing is good, is great, is needed, but I can imagine that most people, especially from the rural areas, they experience a lot of in most cases that I've done my research and all that, most kids in the rural areas, they would go through sexual traumas, and they keep quiet, and that child in the Bundus, they know nothing about therapy. They can't even speak to their own families. So I think the service should at some point, be, I don't know, I can't say it would be cheaper, but it should be made for it to be accessible to people, because really, we're going through a lot of things that we need to talk about, we need to talk. It's not every day that one can be able to face themselves in the mirror to say, amen, you're going through this thing. But listen, you can teach yourself certain things, but you need professional help to actually dig deep and find those truest emotions about what this thing or what a certain thing has made you feel like, or has made you to go through, and maybe whatever. But I think we need more I don't know if psychologists do have like pro bono kind of vibes, but in most cases the service, it's not everyone that can afford it, but it's a service that a lot of people actually need, even our parents, also need. Because I remember that in my session, there was a point where my mom was called in, my sister was called in, because the trauma did not only affect me, but it affected how I behave, especially to the people even around me. So it the reason I say it's not only a service that you as a then victim, now survivor, um, only need to go through, but even the people around you, because whatever, like wherever you drop, you cause a ripple effect, meaning the people that are around you, it could also be affected. But anyways, that's the end of my video, and I hope that this would help you to prepare for your first session. Or if you were considering therapy. If you have any questions, do make sure that you drop them in the comment section below, and I'll be able to answer them if I possibly can. And if you would like contact details of my psychologist, my therapist, I would be gladly and freely give them to you. And you just work on yourself and be good. Thank you so much for watching. Do make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe, because right now we're on the road to 200 subs. Okay, let's say 150, but I can push it to say 200, because I know that we can get there. Thank you so much for watching this video and coming to this point.